Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm your host, Cindy Lybbert, and my special guest today is Katherine Tenney, who is a registered nurse and a relationship coach, helping people navigate their relationships when things aren't happening the way they want, or things are happening bad for them. So, welcome, Katherine.
Hey there, how are you today?
Good. Thank you for being
Good.
here.
My pleasure.
And our topic that we're going to be talking about today is bringing romance back into a relationship, which I think is
Yes.
very extraordinary, very important, and especially in today's world, since we're dealing with COVID and maybe couples are cooped up in the house with each other all the time.
Way too much of each other, yes.
Yeah, it can bring on some stress. But first of all, Katherine, I'd like to ask you, what has been your personal journey and how has it led you to where you are today?
Um, I've had many not ideal relationships. I had many challenges as a child, grew up with significant abuse, addiction in my household. And that really colored how I saw relationships. And because of that, I ended up in some not very good ones, not very good habits. And nobody was really able to help me through that effectively. And I am a nurse and I'm very scientifically based. So I started just trying to figure it out. What is causing these problems that I am not able to connect with other people and have a successful, happy, romantic, long term relationship? And so that's how I ended up where I am now, in a successful, happy, long term relationship. And I want others to have that too.
Beautiful. Well, why do you have a passion for helping others heal and create an extraordinary life?
I think it's important that we all do that. And I've always done that since I was small. I've always helped animals and people, and I feel lost if I am not giving something to the world. And I think if we had more people do that, more kindness, more compassion, more reaching out, more gentleness, that the world would just be a more extraordinary place. And it has that potential, and I want to do my part to reach that potential.
Oh, thank you. And being a registered nurse, I want to thank you because I know you're a busy gal. You must be very busy and working all the time. And
Yeah, it does keep me busy,
yeah,
but it also helps me learn every day and it helps me connect with people. And I love that.
well, thank you for your service.
Well, thank you.
Well, why do you have a passion for helping others heal? And oh, I just asked you that, didn't I? I apologize. I
Okay.
wanted to hear more. You do have a great passion. I appreciate you. Well, what are the main cause you believe is difficult for couples and in relationships?
I think the main problem, quite honestly, is communication. And I think a lot of times they're just communication issues that people aren't even aware of. And a lot of times when folks first come together, that's glossed over. And because they're honestly talking to each other all the time, maybe not aware of everything that's going on. Life hasn't become difficult together as it does. Long term relationships, life happens and all kinds of things happen. And sometimes, if you don't have a good framework, it's really hard to hold on to the romance and the closeness and the intimacy. And all of that is communication. And I think that's a lot of people don't understand how to do that well. And that's what I try to help with,
Mhm.
help navigate that.
Wonderful. What's the main cause you believe is difficult for couples in relationships?
The main cause, I think it can really be anything, but I think a lot of times the distance starts when people stop showing and making the effort to show that they appreciate each other, making the effort to connect and appreciate what the other person is interested in, what they do to improve lives, your life in that relationship. I think a lot of times we forget that it's really important to see those, to feel that appreciation, to get the message, to get the I love you, to get the hand holding across the parking lot on the way to the grocery shopping, to have somebody make a cup of coffee for you in the morning. Just little simple things. You know, do you want me to bring home dinner tonight because you've had a crazy day with the kids? Whatever it is. And I think we forget that. And I think a lot of times people don't stop appreciating people in their heads. They still love whoever they're with and they think about these things, but the thoughts don't come out in words or gestures. And the fewer words and gestures, appreciating the other person, communicating with the other person, how much you care about them, I think there starts to become a distance. And then the communication about issues is harder because you don't have that intimate connection. And so discussing things, solving things, compromising about things is less about two people that love each other and are together and more about just two separate individuals with their own goals. So does that answer the question?
Yes. Yes, communication is very, very important.
It is.
Especially not even in our home, but also at work, in our business.
And I agree with that completely. I think we don't always see enough of that at work or with customers, patients. Really, the niceties and the manners and the politeness and appreciating what somebody is doing, saying please, saying thank you. I appreciate you trying to do this, even though I know it's really hard. You know, I really liked how you did this and this. I think we need to work on this. All of that stuff makes things go so much more smoothly in any team. And I kind of think any relationship anywhere is a team. I mean, be it a nurse and a patient, be it somebody in a store and a customer, be it a husband and a wife, be it friends. Those are all different little teams, you know, a coworker. Those are all teams. And the communication, of course, differs in those teams, but being kind and open and appreciative makes it all go so much smoother.
Yes, thank you. Well, that kind of leads into my next question. It's like, can you tell us some more steps that we can take when things don't fit in our relationship anymore?
This is a hard thing because when you're moving forward in your life, and a lot of us do, we start as we go through life and we get older, we start dealing more with some of the things that we've had happen in the past. A lot of times we start realizing we're not really happy in whatever job we're in, whatever relationship in, whatever life we've chosen to this point. And we start to want to try to move to more happiness and prosperity and feeling well about our lives. And it's hard because we usually at that point have quite a large life around us to begin with that we've already created. And I think a lot of times we have an instinct that we're just going to leap out of that life that we've created into something new, and that's going to make it better. But the problem is a lot of the times the things that we have around us are things that we wanted. These are people that we love. These are people that we've loved very much. And when we start changing, I think it's really important for our own health and self-esteem and moving forward and healing and being confident on the path we're taking to really communicate as much as we can with the people that we're involved with about where we're going, what we want, realizing they might be freaking out because they think there might not be a place for them in this new life, and really working with them to see if they can come forward with you in this new life. And sometimes they absolutely will come forward with you. You communicate and you create that bond and you move forward into a better life together. Sometimes it's not happening. Okay, it's not going to work. They want something different. And at that point, if you've done everything that you can do and you decide to move forward without them, then you feel confident in yourself. That's going to help you feel your self-worth, and you're not going to have nearly as many regrets about things because you tried everything before you made the final decision to move past this relationship. So, and the thing to realize that anytime there's a big change, you're looking for happiness, prosperity, a new kind of health, anytime you try to change your life, you have to remember the system around you just naturally shuts down. And you have to remember the people around you don't always necessarily understand what's going on in your head. So you really do want to communicate with them to see if they can be brought along with you to this new, better place.
Mhm. I love that. Transitions aren't always easy, no matter what age
Oh, they're
you are.
horrible.
Mhm.
Transitions are horrible. Healing is horrible. It's never fun, but it's worth it. It's worth the effort. And you don't want to lose
Yeah.
something special because you didn't put in the effort to see whether or not it would fit into this new reality.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
I
it
love that.
doesn't. Don't feel bad if it doesn't. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You tried everything. Thank you very much. I'm going to love this part of my life. You don't fit in the new part. Here I go.
Well, Catherine, you mentioned self-worth. So how important is self-worth, especially it affects our business and our personal life, our relationships with anybody?
It does. I think developing self worth, a lot of us don't really genuinely have it. And for whatever's happened in our past, and it can be happening, whatever's happening in our current situations too. I think it's really important to start looking at what you are worth and start. I'm really into analyzing things. I'm really into analytical emotionalism.
Ooh.
The emotions are important, but you need to analyze what's going on that's causing them. And I think self-worth, as soon as you can start feeling that, you are going to move forward in your business. You're going to move forward in your health. You're going to move forward in your wealth. You're going to move forward in your relationships. But it's important to hold on to that self-worth and protect it and look around to see what might be happening around you to be pulling that back down. That's an important thing in relationships.
Mhm.
And that's a lot of times where communication comes in, because in any relationship, personal relationship, work relationship, friend relationship, a lot of times people can be doing things intentionally to undercut your self-worth, or a lot of times things that they're saying or doing undercut your self-worth and they're not aware of it. And so it's really important to this little ball of self-worth that you're growing brighter and brighter and brighter, to protect it and look around and see how you can communicate with others so that they support your self-worth and support your value.
Mhm.
And then some don't, and those are the ones that go.
Yeah. Well, sometimes for some of us, it takes a great deal of courage, especially if we've been abused before in a past relationship, and now we've entered into a new marriage, and we're afraid to speak up or speak our truths or find the courage we need to say, hey, things aren't working the way they should. I'm unhappy. What can we do to change things up?
Mm-hmm. And it takes continued courage. That's one of the things that is hard to for a lot of people to realize. I think that the first moment of courage, that's a huge step, but it takes continued courage. And I think that's why it's really important to find a support system. And whether it be in your own relationships, people that you know, whether it's through a coach or a counselor, a support system that can help you find that courage, support you in that courage, help you find the way to communicate effectively with whoever you're trying to talk to. Because a lot of times you find the courage, you say what you're going to say, and whoever you're talking to doesn't get it.
Right?
So you're not
Goes over
going
their
to get
head.
the response that you want because they don't even understand. But you said the words, you found that courage, you didn't get a change. So it's hard to be courageous again. And that's really sad. And so I think it's really important to understand. That's the whole thing again about the communication and the framework, that once you have that, once you change, once you have some tools, you can kind of move through, when you have the courage, communicating with people, understanding how they're responding to you, what way can you tweak what you're saying so that maybe they get where you're coming from, so that your burst of courage
Mhm.
is actually more effective, because it is hard. It's terrible. It's a terribly scary thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot in life that's really, really scary. And people don't even realize how much courage it takes to say those words or to take that step. You know, it's this huge thing to you.
Mhm.
And then, but people outside are like, what? So it is really important, I think, to have that support system. So,
Yeah,
so please, anybody listening to this, get that support system
yeah,
because you are worth this amazing life. And to have that amazing, you're worth it. So find the
yes,
support system because it's out there. The people are out there to help you.
yes. And that's why you're here today, so people can find you. You are there. You'd be a great support system coach. I had a thought that came to me is when I was growing up, when I was a little child, my parents didn't get along all the time,
Mhm.
and they mostly yelled at each other. And I'm thinking, why don't you guys get into counseling? And I don't know if I heard this or where I learned this from when I was a younger child. Back then, oh no, people did not go to coaches or therapy or therapists. That was the wrong word. That was no. Something's wrong with you if you're going to someone. So it's
Well,
not voodoo anymore. That you're there to help us when we need it, and
well,
it's okay. It's
that's
okay to get
exactly
help.
right. And I think the other important thing is healing is really hard.
Mhm.
A lot of this stuff is very simple, but simple does not equal easy. Okay, it takes some effort. But I think this is really important. If you find a support system, you go to counseling, you find a coach, whatever it is, and you start feeling significantly worse about yourself or what they're saying doesn't resonate with you, it's okay to leave. It's okay to go. I think that's something, and I'm saying this from my personal experience with some really questionable folks, but also from my nurse experiences. I think a lot of people, that's another one of the steps of courage. They walk into a situation and they try a counselor, they try a coach, and it doesn't help or it makes them feel worse. And they give it a good try.
Mhm.
And so they feel like nothing, there's no help, there's
Mhm.
nobody that can help them, there's nothing that's going to make it better. And I feel so sad about that. So I just want everybody to know, if it doesn't feel right, that's self-worth right there, is to say, this doesn't feel right, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm going to go find another way.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, stick with it until you find the one that you resonate with.
and my parents also should have gone to counseling and did not go to counseling.
Yeah, I think it
They
was
threw me into
that,
counseling,
that
but it
generation.
didn't really help because it didn't change any of their activities and behaviors. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, Catherine, how can we bring romance back into our lives, back into our relationships?
Appreciate each other. Really, genuinely, we talk so much in this world now about gratitude and how much gratitude changes your life, and a gratitude practice, and how, just simple gratitude can heal wounds and bring you self-worth. And it's all true. Because when you start really looking at the little things, you're appreciating the little things, be it the sunlight or the butterfly flying by, or the dog that comes up and wags its tail, and that's exactly what you needed at the end of the day. And really taking the moment to say thank you, this was something I needed right now, just appreciating the moment. It's really important to have gratitude for the person that you're with, and to show them and to let them know that you notice these things. If I talk about things like, okay, if somebody brings, you show somebody you care about them, you make them a cup of coffee in the morning. Okay, well, the other side is if somebody makes you a cup of coffee in the morning, you need to appreciate that, and let them know how much you appreciate that. Thank you so much. You made my morning. Thank you for doing this. So I think it's really important to take the thoughts that we have out of our heads and show our partner, show whoever, whatever relationship we're in, how much we appreciate them. Take the moment, start developing a practice every day. What is something I appreciate today? What is something that you do that makes me smile? What is something that you do that I really like? And I mean, good heavens, it can be something like somebody clean the crumbs off the kitchen counter. Okay. If that really bugs you and you said to somebody, look, that drives me crazy. And suddenly the crumbs are being cleaned off the counter, more frequently, that's somebody loving you. And so start focusing on that. And when you start focusing on those little things, you're going to communicate more. You're going to understand each other more. You're going to be listening to each other more. And that's the other thing. Show some interest in whatever your partner likes. Doesn't mean you need to go out and do whatever it is. Okay. If they really like cars, it doesn't mean you need to go out in the garage and start turning wrenches. But listen to them. If you like embroidery, I like embroidery. I like my husband to listen to what I'm talking about and show some interest in it, not because he's into embroidery and he's never going to be into embroidery, but because he loves me. And it makes me feel loved that he takes the time to listen to me. It makes him feel loved that I take the time to listen to him about his cars. So those are all things. I think you start with a little thing and just really connect with somebody. And then the bigger things, you're going to find you're able to talk about it better. You're able to communicate better. You're not going to get so defensive when somebody brings something up because you're safe and you're loved and you're appreciated. So the bigger things are a lot easier to get through.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. I had another thought that I know some people can't say or have a hard time of saying, I love you, but being able
Yes.
to say, I'm grateful or showing your gratitude can open the door, make it easier for you to be able to eventually say, I love
It
you.
is. And I think that's really important for other people, if you're with somebody that has trouble saying, I love you, it's really important to realize something like a cup of coffee in the morning or crumbs being cleaned off the counter. That is somebody saying they love you. I mean, that's what that is. And I love you doesn't always have to be said in words.
Correct.
So, I mean, words are nice and we love words and,
Yeah.
but
Well, that all comes back to communication.
it
So
does. It really does.
how
And I
important
think,
it is. Yeah. So can you tell us more about communication with couples and relationships?
well, it's one of those, I think a lot of times that the communication itself, if you're not communicating well, it's very easy to be defensive and hurt and feel like somebody's attacking you when they're
True.
genuinely not,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns into a thing. Well, you're attacking me. You always say blah, blah, blah. And so I think the more you can do these small little acts of communication, they really progress into bigger acts. And I think that they're just simple tools to do, simple ways to appreciate people, simple ways to speak with your partner where you don't come across as you're attacking. I think that's very important. I think it's very important. And it depends. I mean, some people, you talk to them, okay, they need to think about it. So is this a person that you set up, is your partner somebody where you say, this is really important to me. I'm very upset about this. I'm really concerned about this. When would you like to discuss this? Is your partner that kind of person where they need 24 hours because otherwise they just totally shut down if you keep at them right now? So it's really, you need to give them that 24 hours. But
Yes.
the other side is, if they would be perfectly happy to just sweep this under the rug and never speak of it again,
Mm-hmm.
they need to make the commitment to speak with you in the 24 hours or whatever time period people come up with. So there really has to be that understanding and communicating with the two communication ways that folks have in their relationships, because they're not always the same, and compromising in that and accepting that if I give you 24 hours, that's me saying I love you and I value you. If you talk to
I like
me
that.
in 24 hours, instead of just saying never again, that is you saying you love me. Even though I want to talk right this second, The fact that I know you, and then people have to be consistent with it. And so I think there are all kinds of communication skills and give and takes that sometimes it helps to have somebody talk to both of you and figure out where the problem lies so that you can try to apply the right tool to the situation. And then as soon as you have that, again, my whole thing is I think as soon as people feel consistently safe and secure and loved in their relationship, the rest of it is so much easier. So, and I
Yeah.
think it's also really important to take time to actually have romantic evenings, afternoons, mornings, doing something together where you put aside everything else, put aside the kids, even if they're just in the other room. Okay. Because it's really important that you make that time to connect with each other. And if it's, bowl of popcorn and watching a movie, that's what you guys want to do, then that's what you do. But it's just the two of you, nothing else. So
Thank
was
you. I
that
like
at all
that.
what you wanted to know?
Well, Catherine, you have a free gift for us, and it's date night success checklist. Tell us a little bit more about your
Yes.
gift.
I think one of the things that's hard, I think a lot of people have this problem. They very much love whoever they're with. They want to do a wonderful romantic date night. This is especially a thing now with COVID because we're all stuck inside and we all see each other all the time. It's sometimes hard with all of that closeness to have a romantic evening, have a romantic moment. And I think a lot of times it's hard to come up with that. And so I like to really help with ideas of a casual date night. These are the things you need to do to set that up so that the situation is actually just a date night. There aren't things in the background bothering you. It's just almost like you went out of the house, you went somewhere, you got your dinner, barring a flat tire or something. But, and so I really think a lot of times helping have a plan for how things are or how to do things, how to get things set up, there's nothing left out so that you can just enjoy each other. And I've had people say maybe, okay, well, does that take some of the romance out of it? Does that take some of the magic out of it? And I really genuinely, it really doesn't. Planning for something and then letting it happen the way it's going to happen adds romance. It's like if you want to go on a spontaneous trip down the coast, planning means you're going to stop and put gas in the car on the way because otherwise your spontaneous trip may very well be by the side of the road for 2 hours while you're waiting for somebody to save you. So I think a lot of times just basic, easy planning, and then you can just enjoy each other. And it makes all the difference. Do that, once a week.
Yeah, I love that idea. Thank you. So before we close, I want to tell everyone who's watching, you can find out more about Catherine and her free gift just below. There's a button that you could check on. And I'm going to be getting your free gift also because it sounds really amazing and I could use it. Who couldn't? And so is there anything else, Catherine, that you'd like to share with our audience as being a relationship coach?
I'll tell you, most of the time, the magic is still there. It really is. You just sometimes need to take a breath, get a few new tools, and all the fire comes back. So don't give up just yet.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you back again
Thank you
soon.
so much.
And remember to check out Catherine's information below and her free gift. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye for now.